Eating beets could be a fatal mistake. Does that sentence sound like an exaggeration? Perhaps. But it's exactly what many seniors discover far too late. The same root vegetable celebrated as a superfood hides dangerous traps when consumed the wrong way. The problem isn't the beet itself, but the 12 common mistakes that turn a natural ally into a silent risk for your heart, kidneys, blood pressure, and even your memory. After all, how many times have you heard that beets are great for circulation, enrich the blood, and boost your daily energy? All of this is true, as long as they're used intelligently. The mature body works like a delicate machine. It needs balance, correct doses, and the right combinations. When that balance is lost, even the most nutritious food can become a threat. And it's precisely at this point that most seniors stumble without realizing it. Think of something simple, a glass of beet juice hastily consumed at breakfast. The scene seems healthy, but depending on the amount, what was mixed in it, or your health history, this simple act could spike your blood sugar, cause your blood pressure to plummet, or overload your kidneys. And nobody warns you about this. On the contrary, the more natural it seems, the more confident we become, and it's in that confidence that mistakes take root. The impact is even greater because beets have an immediate and silent effect. You might feel an extra burst of energy or improved circulation, but at the same time, you may not notice the small warning signs, a sudden dizzy spell, feeling unwell after a meal, or a subtle backache indicating kidney strain. These symptoms are easily ignored or attributed to the fatigue that comes with age. But the body speaks, and those who learn to listen can avoid serious consequences. That's why this guide is so essential. Here, you will discover the 12 most dangerous mistakes in beet consumption, mistakes that millions of people make, believing they are taking care of their health when, in reality, they are paving the way for imbalances and diseases. Each mistake revealed will not only show the hidden risk but also how to correct it practically, turning beets into a true natural defense for your vitality. And perhaps the most shocking part will be realizing that you may have already made some of these mistakes without knowing. But don't worry, knowledge is power, and from now on, every spoonful or glass can be consumed with awareness and safety. If this warning has already opened your eyes to a detail you had never considered, take a moment to reflect. This is how you help spread life-saving information for those over 60 and strengthen the commitment to caring for your body with wisdom. Have you ever heard the phrase, if it's good for you, the more, the better? This is perhaps the biggest misconception when it comes to beets. They are rich in natural nitrates that dilate blood vessels, improve circulation, and lower blood pressure. However, the human body, especially after 60, doesn't operate in extremes. The same substance that helps can, in excess, cause a sharp drop in blood pressure, leading to dizziness, fainting, and even dangerous falls. And we know that a fall at this stage of life can mean weeks of recovery, physical therapy, and limitations that steal your independence. The problem is that almost no one measures the correct portion. Beet juice, for example, is often consumed in large glasses, frequently mixed with other sweet fruits. What should be a therapeutic dose turns into a flood of nitrates and sugars that the body can't balance. A person might feel an immediate sense of well-being but fail to realize their body has been pushed beyond its limits. The feeling of energy might last for minutes, while the side effects accumulate silently. The liver and kidneys, responsible for filtering and metabolizing everything we ingest, suffer from this overload. When beet intake is daily and excessive, these organs work overtime, and this isn't something that shows up on a simple lab test or as an immediate symptom. It's a slow, cumulative wear and tear that only reveals its damage when it's already late. The same goes for glucose. Although beets aren't as dangerous as sodas or sweets, they still contain natural sugars that, in excess, alter blood levels. For those with prediabetes or diabetes, the consequence can be an unexpected spike, directly impacting energy, vision, and mood. What seemed like a healthy choice can trigger a whole day of instability. This is where the concept of balance comes in, and science shows that small doses, like 70 to 100 grams, about 2.5 to 3.5 ounces, of raw or cooked beets already offer cardiovascular and antioxidant benefits. More than that doesn't mean more health, it means more risk. It's like medicine, the right dose cures, but the wrong dose is toxic. The challenge is that most people don't recognize this limit. The habit of eating them every day, serving large portions, or believing that the more colorful the plate, the better, ends up leading to an invisible excess. Invisible because it doesn't hurt at the moment, but it erodes your health slowly over time. And here the question arises, could your body already be asking for balance, but you haven't noticed? Dizziness after a meal, an unexpected fluctuation in blood pressure, stomach discomfort, these could be the signs. Ignoring them is like walking on thin ice, never knowing which step will cause it to crack. This is just the first practical trap many fall into. But there are also common combinations that turn a simple glass of beet juice into a hidden health bomb. And that's what we'll talk about next. Imagine the scene: you wake up early, chop a fresh beet, and put it in the blender with a few oranges, maybe an apple, or even a spoonful of honey to enhance the flavor. It sounds healthy, doesn't it? But this combination, which many make without a second thought, can be one of the most dangerous mistakes for anyone over 60. Beets themselves already contain natural sugars. They aren't the villain when consumed in a balanced way, but when mixed with fructose-rich fruits or refined sugar, the impact on the body multiplies. What was meant to be a controlled dose of energy becomes a glucose cocktail that rapidly floods the bloodstream. For someone with diabetes or pre-diabetes, a morning juice like this can cause sugar levels to skyrocket, triggering a metabolic roller coaster. And that's not all. Excess circulating glucose increases the production of free radicals, inflames cells, and weakens the body's natural defenses. Instead of protecting blood vessels, this juice can irritate them, promoting arterial stiffness and accelerating aging. The paradox is cruel: those seeking vitality end up, without knowing, fueling processes that rob them of energy, vision, memory, and resilience. Another important point is the silent effect on the liver. This organ has to metabolize all the excess fructose from fruits consumed in large quantities or combined with beets. An overworked liver converts part of this excess into fat, increasing the risk of fatty liver disease, a problem becoming more common in seniors. The consequences can include constant fatigue, difficulty concentrating, and even hormonal changes. Science has already shown that the glycemic index of foods depends not just on each ingredient alone, but on their combination.
Beets with sweet fruits create a cumulative effect, raising blood glucose much faster than if each food were eaten separately. It's like adding sparks until the fire becomes uncontrollable. The body sends signals: drowsiness after consumption, a feeling of fatigue, difficulty concentrating. But these signs are almost always ignored, attributed to the weight of age or a poor night's sleep. In reality, it's the body crying for help in the face of an invisible overload. This doesn't mean beets should be banned from your diet. On the contrary, it means they need to be used wisely. Instead of combining them with very sweet fruits, an alternative is to pair them with foods rich in fiber and light proteins, which slow down glucose absorption. Another option is to consume them in small portions, steamed or in balanced salads. The secret is not to turn something healthy into a silent enemy. But there is an even more treacherous mistake: the link between beets and kidney stones, a risk that few know about and that might change how you view this food from today on. Few people imagine it, but one of the biggest hidden dangers in beets is related to the kidneys. This sweet and colorful root is also one of the richest in oxalates, substances that, in excess, can accumulate and form crystals in the urinary tract. In other words, for someone who has a history of or a tendency toward kidney stones, consuming beets in excess is like pouring gasoline on a fire you thought was out. Kidney stones don't appear overnight. They are the result of silent deposits that form over time, hardening until they become small, painful blocks. Anyone who has experienced a kidney stone crisis knows the pain is compared to childbirth or even worse. Now imagine going through that after 60, when the body is more vulnerable and recovery is slower. The problem is that most people associate kidney stones only with excess salt or not drinking enough water. Do you know that oxalate-rich foods like beets, spinach, and some nuts are also powerful triggers? And unlike salt, which we could taste, oxalates are tasteless and give no immediate signs. They simply accumulate silently until one day the body can't take it anymore. This doesn't mean every senior should eliminate beets from their diet, but it does mean that anyone with a history of kidney stones needs to be extra careful. Science shows that the risk increases with dehydration. Without enough water, the kidneys can't dilute the crystals formed by oxalates. The result, the stones grow faster and more frequently. And here's a crucial detail: many older adults reduce their fluid intake without realizing it, either because they feel less thirsty or to avoid frequent trips to the bathroom. This habit, combined with frequent beet consumption, creates the perfect scenario for kidney stone formation. The body gives warning signs: a subtle lower back pain, blood in the urine, a frequent urge to urinate in small amounts. But, as with other mistakes, most ignore these symptoms until a crisis hits violently. The good news is that there are simple ways to reduce the risk without giving up the benefits of beets. One is to ensure constant hydration, at least 1.5 to 2 liters of water throughout the day. Another is to vary your vegetables, alternating beets with carrots, squash, and other roots lower in oxalates. Additionally, preparing beets by steaming them can reduce some of these substances, making them safer to eat. The key is balance. But there's a detail few talk about. While some need to worry about kidney stones, others must pay attention to the effect of beets on blood pressure. A common mistake, which can be even more dangerous, is consuming the root without considering its interaction with medications. Beets are known as the food that opens the arteries. Their natural nitrates are converted into nitric oxide in the body, relaxing blood vessels and improving circulation. For someone with high blood pressure, this seems like a gift from nature, a simple and natural way to help the heart work better. But there's a hidden risk, especially for seniors already taking antihypertensive medications. When beets are consumed in excess along with these drugs, the effects can compound, leading to a sharp drop in blood pressure. What was once balanced becomes a dangerous imbalance. Dizziness, blurred vision, a sudden feeling of weakness. In some cases, the outcome is a sudden fall at home, in the supermarket, or even on the street. And we all know how a fall after 60 can mean much more than just a scare. Fractures, hospitalizations, and a loss of independence. The most treacherous part is that this effect doesn't appear immediately in everyone. Some seniors might consume beets for days without noticing anything, until one morning their pressure plummets without warning. This unpredictability makes the combination of beets and medication a silent minefield. Science has shown that consuming just 250 milliliters, about 8.5 ounces, of beet juice can reduce systolic blood pressure by up to 10 millimeters of mercury in some people. For those not on medication, this effect is positive. But for those already taking daily pills, it can be dangerous. It's like taking a double dose of the same medicine without realizing it. The body's signals are clear but often neglected. Sudden weakness, palpitations, headache, or even a feeling that the room is spinning. How many seniors have attributed this to a bad day or the heat, when in reality, it's their body screaming for attention? This is where the importance of observing every detail comes in. If you consume beets and already take blood pressure medication, keep a simple diary. Note the amount you ate, the time you took your medicine, and how you felt. This small gesture can reveal patterns that go unnoticed but make all the difference for your safety. More than that, it's essential to talk to your doctor. Many professionals are unaware of their patients' dietary habits and, without this information, cannot adjust their guidance accordingly. Bringing this issue up during a consultation is an act of responsibility for your own health. And here's an invitation. Have you ever felt dizzy, weak, or experienced any change in blood pressure after eating beets? Sharing your experience can not only help you reflect, but also help others who might be going through the same thing without realizing it. The point is clear. Beets can be a powerful ally for the heart, but when combined with the wrong medication, they become a dangerous trigger. And that's not all. Many still fall into another trap, believing that store-bought processed juices offer the same benefits as the fresh root. In reality, these products hide even greater risks. At first glance, the supermarket shelf seems to offer a practical solution. Colorful bottles with green labels and words like natural, detox, energy. Many seniors believe they are bringing health home when they buy ready-made beet juice. After all, it's quicker than peeling, chopping, and cooking the root. But this convenience comes at a high and often dangerous price. The first problem is simple. These juices are rarely 100% beet. Even when the label highlights the root as the main ingredient, there are almost always added sweet fruits, concentrated sugars, colorings, and preservatives. The result? A drink that looks healthy but overloads the body with glucose and chemical additives.
For those over 60, this detail is particularly serious because the body no longer metabolizes these excesses with the same efficiency as in youth. Another point is the loss of nutrients. Fresh beets offer fiber, antioxidants, and bioactive compounds that are lost in the industrial process. The ready-made juice delivers the vibrant color and sweet taste but with much less nutritional value. It's like a shadow of the original food, without the real protective power for the heart, memory, and immune system. Furthermore, the preservatives used to extend the drink's shelf life act as silent aggressors. The body recognizes them as invaders, activating inflammatory processes. For a mature body, already naturally more vulnerable to inflammation, this can accelerate joint pain, swelling, and even increase the risk of chronic diseases. And then there's the sodium. Many of these ready-made juices contain considerable amounts of salt, used to stabilize the flavor. For someone who already has high blood pressure, consuming this type of product is like taking one step forward and two steps back. You seek the benefit of the beet but give your body an excess of sodium that sabotages your heart. The marketing, however, is seductive. The packaging talks about instant energy, 100% natural, made with selected beets. But they rarely highlight what really matters: the additives that cause inflammation, the sugars that lead to imbalance, and the loss of essential nutrients. And here lies the biggest danger: many seniors swap fresh roots for ready-made juice thinking they are simplifying their routine. What they are actually doing is replacing a powerful food with an impoverished and, in some cases, harmful version. This silent switch could be the reason behind persistent aches, unexplained fatigue, and even poor blood test results. The lesson is clear: don't be fooled by the label. The true power of beets lies in the fresh root, prepared correctly and in a balanced way. The rest is an illusion sold in pretty bottles. But there's an even more subtle mistake: not listening to your body. Many seniors show clear symptoms that beets are not being well digested or absorbed but ignore these signs. And this deafness to the body's warnings can be costly. The body speaks all the time. Every discomfort, every change in its normal rhythm is a warning that something needs attention. But in the rush of daily life or the belief that it's just part of getting older, many seniors end up ignoring important signals. And when it comes to beet consumption, this silence can be costly. Beets, rich in fiber and bioactive substances, can be difficult for some people to digest. The result? Excess gas, abdominal bloating, cramps, or even episodes of diarrhea. These may seem like minor, temporary discomforts, but when they recur, they reveal that the body is not handling the form, quantity, or frequency of the food's consumption well. Still, most people carry on, believing it's just part of it. Another common sign is the change in urine and stool color. The reddish hue after eating beets can be alarming. Many immediately think of blood. But over time, this change starts to be ignored. And herein lies the danger: the habit of not investigating can lead seniors to confuse harmless symptoms with signs of serious diseases, or worse, to delay seeking help when the body is truly crying out for it. Then there are the more subtle signs: sudden fatigue after drinking beet juice, a mild headache, palpitations. These are reactions that could indicate a drop in blood pressure or glucose imbalances. However, since these symptoms often disappear quickly, they end up being minimized. The result? The body continues to be silently overloaded, while the senior misses the chance to adjust their diet preventively. Ignoring these signs is like driving a car with the warning light on. You might be able to keep going for a few more miles, but sooner or later, the problem will explode. The human body works the same way: it sends messages, and when those messages aren't heard, it turns them into screams in the form of more serious illnesses. The good news is that listening to your body doesn't require sophisticated tests, just attention. If beets cause discomfort, reduce the portion, vary the preparation methods, or combine them with other foods that soften the digestive impact. If your blood pressure drops or glucose fluctuates, record these episodes and share the information with your doctor. These are simple measures, but they can prevent major complications. Wisdom and maturity lies precisely in this, not in accumulating information, but in learning to interpret your own body as a guide. Every reaction is a clue, every symptom a warning. And ignoring them can be as dangerous as overdoing the dosage. But there is another, even more common mistake that few realize: combining beets with foods that sabotage their absorption. It's like preparing a healthy dish and, without knowing, canceling out almost all of its benefits. There's no point in choosing a powerful food if, when you put it on your plate, you mix it with something that cuts its strength in half. And that's exactly what happens with beets when combined with certain ingredients. The mistake isn't eating the root, but neutralizing its benefits without even realizing it. One of the most common examples is consuming beets with dairy products like cheese, milk, or yogurt. It seems harmless: a salad with fresh cheese, a smoothie blended with milk. But science shows that excess calcium can hinder the absorption of the iron present in beets. This iron is one of its greatest assets. It helps form red blood cells, improves oxygenation, and combats fatigue. But when you pair the root with a calcium-rich food, the iron simply isn't utilized as it should be. It's as if the meal loses part of its value without warning. Another mistake is mixing beets with heavy meals loaded with saturated fats. In these cases, the body directs its energy toward digesting the fat, failing to absorb the antioxidants and vitamins from the root. The result: instead of cleansing and protecting, the beet ends up being swallowed by the weight of other excesses. And then there are combinations with sugar, whether in a sweetened juice or in colorful desserts. Besides increasing the glycemic load, sugar causes silent inflammation that negates some of the beet's antioxidant effects. In other words, what should protect against premature aging could end up accelerating it. On the other hand, there are intelligent combinations that enhance the benefits. One example is consuming beets with sources of vitamin C, like oranges, lemons, or bell peppers. Vitamin C significantly increases iron absorption, turning a simple meal into a real boost for your blood and energy. Another strategy is to pair them with green leafy vegetables, which balance fiber and minerals, creating a more complete and easily digestible dish. This care is even more important after 60, when nutrient absorption naturally declines. Every meal needs to be considered not only for what it offers but for how the nutrients interact within the body. It is in this detail that vitality is gained or lost. So, if you know someone who loves eating beets but might be making these combination mistakes, share this information with them. Often, a simple tip like this can change how they eat and even prevent serious problems in the future. And here's a surprising detail: it's not enough to think about combinations, you also need to look at the method of preparation. Overcooking or consuming too much raw can turn beets from a friend into an enemy. And that's the next mistake we need to reveal. The beet is a powerful but also sensitive root. How you prepare it can determine whether it will deliver its nutrients or lose them along the way. And this is a common error: overcooking it or consuming it raw in excess, believing that the more natural, the better. Let's start with overcooking. When beets are boiled for a long time, a good portion of water-soluble vitamins, like vitamin C and some B vitamins, are lost in the water. The liquid becomes colorful and vibrant, but along with the color, it carries away precious nutrients. In the end, the dish may look healthy, but it has half the real power it should offer. It's like preparing a medicine and pouring part of the active ingredient down the drain. The other extreme also carries risks: consuming too many raw beets. Although this preserves nutrients, the raw root is harder to digest and can cause intestinal discomfort, gas, and even stomach irritation. For seniors, whose digestive systems are already less efficient, this impact can be even more intense, turning a functional food into a source of discomfort. The solution lies in balance and the right technique. Steaming or roasting beets preserves far more nutrients than boiling them for long periods. Additionally, cutting them into large pieces or cooking them with the skin on helps reduce vitamin loss. It's a simple detail, but it makes all the difference. Another important tip is to vary the preparation. One day, enjoy them finely grated in raw salads; another day, have small portions steamed. This rotation ensures both nutrient preservation and good digestibility. Diversity is the secret to health, and this applies not only to beets but to all foods that strengthen our natural defenses. Many people don't realize that even the seasoning can have an influence. The use of lemon or vinegar, for example, not only enhances the flavor but also aids in iron absorption. These are small choices that, when combined, make each meal more powerful and functional. The mistake in preparation is not just a matter of taste but of real health. By insisting on inadequate practices, you may be wasting exactly what you need most at this stage of life: nutrients capable of protecting your heart, improving your memory, and giving you the energy to live with vitality. And there's another curious detail: the intense color of beets, which often deceives both the body and the mind. This striking color can cause unnecessary scares or hide serious signs. This is what we need to talk about now. Few foods have a color as intense as the beet. This deep red, almost purple, hue is a sign of powerful antioxidants called betalains, which can fight inflammation and protect cells against premature aging. But this same vibrant color can turn into a scare and, in some cases, a dangerous health trap. Many people notice that their urine or stools turn reddish after consuming beets. This phenomenon is known as beeturia. For some, it happens every time; for others, only occasionally. The problem isn't the symptom itself, which is harmless, but how it's interpreted. Seniors who are unaware of this possibility might believe they are passing blood, and immediate fear takes over. Anxiety rises, and in some cases, it even leads to unnecessary trips to the emergency room. On the other hand, the opposite effect is even more dangerous. Those who have become accustomed to seeing reddish urine or stools after eating beets may ignore real signs of blood in their urinary or digestive system. And here lies the trap. The body might be trying to warn about something serious: an infection, an ulcer, a tumor, but the person, believing it's just the beets, lets the warning slide. The result can be a delayed diagnosis, with serious consequences. This is one of the greatest paradoxes. The same food that strengthens your defenses can, by its color, camouflage serious problems. Therefore, the recommendation is simple and direct: if the red coloration persists for more than 48 hours after consumption, or if it is accompanied by pain, fever, weakness, or weight loss, see a doctor immediately. Don't attribute everything to the beets without investigation. The body rarely sends signals without a reason. Another important point is the psychological impact. Many seniors report feeling intense fear the first time they see this color change, believing they are experiencing a hemorrhage. This stress not only harms emotional well-being but can also raise blood pressure, speed up the heart, and even disrupt sleep. Understanding that beets can cause this effect helps avoid unnecessary scares. But be warned, just because beets can trick your eyes doesn't mean you should relax and ignore your body's signals. The balance lies in learning to differentiate what is normal from what is not. This vigilance can save lives, especially after 60, when every detail counts. And even knowing all this, many still make a classic mistake, believing they can eat beets every day, in large quantities, without varying their food choices. This seemingly healthy habit can limit nutrients and overload the body. There is a dangerous belief that many seniors hold: if a food is healthy, I can eat it all the time, without limits. Beets often fall into this myth. Because they are seen as a superfood, many people put them on their plate daily, whether in their morning juice, lunch salad, or even dinner. What looks like discipline can actually be excess. The human body needs variety. Every vegetable, every fruit, brings different nutrients that complement each other to keep our natural defenses active. When someone insists on a single food, they give up this diversity and run the risk of creating silent imbalances. In the case of beets, excessive consumption increases the intake of oxalates, which we've already seen are linked to kidney stones. Furthermore, constant repetition can overload the liver and disrupt glucose balance. Another issue is the risk of nutritional monotony. When the plate always features the same ingredient, other nutrients are missed. Vitamins like K, found in dark leafy greens, or antioxidants like lycopene from tomatoes, become deficient. It's like trying to build a house using only bricks, without cement, iron, or wood. The result is an incomplete, fragile, and vulnerable structure. An excess of beets can also mask other problems. The extra energy some people report after daily consumption might hide symptoms of fatigue or low blood pressure that have another cause. By attributing everything to the power of beets, many people fail to investigate real imbalances. The key is moderation and rotation. Instead of eating beets every day, alternate them with other vegetables: carrots, squash, sweet potatoes, chayote, yams. Each one brings different minerals and antioxidants, ensuring the body receives a full menu of nutrients. This diversity not only strengthens natural defenses but also keeps the palate stimulated and digestion lighter. Think of your plate as an orchestra. If only one instrument plays non-stop, the music loses its harmony. But when they all play in sync, the result is balance, beauty, and strength. This is how nutrition should work after 60, an orchestra of nutrients, not a repetitive solo that overloads the body. This mistake, of daily and limitless consumption, closes the list of silent traps that turn beets from a friend into an enemy. But before we conclude, it's time to tie everything together, to understand how to turn this root into a true ally, avoiding the 12 mistakes and reaping only the benefits. After going through each of these traps, it's clear, the beet is not a villain, but it isn't an unquestionable hero either. It's like a powerful tool, capable of building vitality or causing damage, depending on how it's used. And this is where wisdom lies, in transforming a common food into an intelligent ally, not a silent risk. Throughout this guide, you've seen how small details change everything. The right amount protects, excess lowers blood pressure. A balanced combination enhances, mixing with sugar and dairy sabotages absorption. Proper preparation preserves nutrients, overcooking destroys them. Paying attention to your body reveals important signs, negligence turns them into crises. Each of the 12 mistakes we've revealed demonstrates the same principle: health is not just in what you eat, but in how you eat. And for those over 60, this care is even more essential. The body changes, digestion slows, and the kidneys and liver need more attention. But at the same time, it's also the stage of life where wisdom can guide better choices. Knowing how to balance beets, without exaggeration, without illusions, is a form of respect for your own body and a way to build active longevity. Think of it as a silent pact between you and your health. Every time you put food on your plate, you choose between strengthening or weakening your defenses. Beets can be your ally, as long as they are used with awareness. Small doses, smart combinations, careful preparation, and attention to your body's signals. This is the recipe for reaping only the benefits: more energy, better circulation, clearer memory, and a body better protected against inflammation. And remember, no one needs to seek perfection, just balance. It's not about eliminating beets from your diet, but about avoiding the mistakes that turn them into an enemy. With simple choices, you ensure that every meal works in your favor, strengthening not only your body but also your confidence that you are on the right path. If this content made sense to you, consider sharing it. Every piece of information is designed to bring clarity, prevention, and vitality after 60, translating science into practical tips that can transform lives. By spreading the word, you ensure that others won't miss out on guidance that can protect their health and even reverse problems before they become serious.